Are you tired of most gear in Wizard101 looking like this?
What is that?
Well, then this brand new gear will be a must-have for your wizard.
Boss up, yeah, on my enemies. No, they talk about us, but they not like we. And I'm up right now.
What is up, everyone? My name is FMSorcerer, and today I'm going to be talking about some brand new gear that I think we should have added to Wizard101. You see, a lot of the gear in Wizard101, in my opinion, in terms of the way that it looks, is just terrible, okay? Let's just look at it this way, right? Pringles. Pringles are great. You know why? Because they don't sell you air. Wizard101 should take a page out of Pringles' book, or a chip out of their can. Knee slapper? Anybody? Slap your knee, please. Just do it. Slap your knee. And I think they should start giving us better looking gear, because a lot of the gear in Wiz looks terrible. I mean, why are they giving us gear that has half air in the bag? Gear doesn't come in a bag, but it still looks awful, so that should fit. I just think that they should be making gear that looks good for us. I mean, especially if it's higher level gear. If you look at a lot of gear for like level 100 and, you know, level 110, 125, a lot of that gear looks terrible, and I just don't understand who at KingsIsle is designing this gear, why they're designing the gear the way that they are. I mean, no offense, but it looks terrible. I think that if they were to put in some gear that not only had better stats, but that's a whole nother video. I just think for now I want to talk about the way the gear looks. I think that a lot of it looks bad, and that they just don't even spend time, you know, designing a lot of the gear. It just looks really, really awful. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking about some potential new gear pieces that could be added to Wiz from bosses throughout the game, because a lot of the bosses in Wiz actually have some really cool design gear, but for some reason when we get gear from those bosses, it doesn't really look like the boss's original gear. I mean, it looks a little bit like it, but not exactly. I think, in my opinion, that we should get what the boss was actually wearing. That would make sense. It would save them time too if they've already designed it. Why make something completely different? I just don't get it. And you know, if you're gonna do that, at least don't make it look trash. So let's go ahead and get started with the number 5 boss on this list, whose gear I think should be added to Wizard101. Alright guys, so number 5 on this list is actually an NPC slash boss from Chrysalis named Taylor Coleridge. Now, I don't know if most people remember this guy, but he was somebody who helped us, you know, find Old Cobb before everything fell apart and we ended up chasing Old Cobb in the 3rd arc. But I think that this boss has some really, really cool looking gear, and especially his staff. Who does not love turtles, dude? They're just amazing. All right, and the fact that they made a whole turtle staff wand for this guy, and they didn't make it something that we could have in the game, I just don't understand. KingsIsle, what you doing? Where are your minds at? Where are they?
Get out of here.
Where are the turtles? Where are they?
I think that this turtle wand should really be added into the game, because turtles are cool, and that this is just really a unique looking staff. I mean, have you ever really seen a staff that's this unique in the game? And this is what I'm saying. I think a lot of the bosses that they put in the game, they already designed some really cool looking gear for them. They just didn't allow us to have that gear. Not only that though, he's also holding a lantern in his other hand, and it's like he has 2 different wands. Even if the lantern is not a wand itself, you know, he's still holding 2 things that resemble wands, and I think that is something that is very untouched in Wiz. Like, they should do something like that for us. They should allow us to hold 2 things in both of our hands as like 1 wand, and I think that would be really awesome to, you know, put in not only Taylor Coleridge's turtle staff, but also to put in this lantern as well. Just put in a full set, because I also really like the robe and the boots. I don't think there's any gear in the game that looks like his robe or the boots, and if you just look at it in these pictures, it looks really cool. I love his gear set, and I think they should just add his whole gear set into the game, whether you farm it from a dungeon. I think they should make a boss pack. That's just a great idea. Whoa, oh my god, yo, I really think they should do something like that, and then put some of the gear from these bosses in the pack. And I really like everything that Taylor Coleridge has, and yeah, I think that this is a must-have for Wiz to add into the game. But let's go ahead and move on to number 4. All right guys, next on the list is actually Morganth. I think that a lot of people forget exactly how cool Morganth's gear looks in the final battle of Chrysalis. So there were 3 different bosses besides the death one that we fought from Morganth, and there was Ice, Balance, and Storm. And all three of those different variations of Morganth, right along with the Death one, looked really, really cool. And you can see right here that every single one just has like this awesome, you know, style and design for the robe, and the wands look cool too. And I just think that something like this is overdue for Wiz. I mean, I just really think it makes a lot of sense for them to add Morganth elegant gear. And I think they should make variations of every school. The Ice one, in my opinion, looks the most fire, along with the Storm one, but I really like all of Morganth's different variations. I think they're really cool, and that this is something that Wiz should really add into the game for our wizards to wear cosmetically and statistically as well, if you want to say that we would have stats on the gear. And now let's go ahead and move on to numero 3. Alright guys, so for this next one, I am in Polaris because we're going to be talking about a boss towards the end of Polaris named Igor, and he actually had a really lit looking robe, in my opinion, dude. If you look at it, you can see that it's kind of got like these death symbols across it, and has like some shadow looking themes at the bottom. And I think that this would be a really cool robe for our wizards to wear. And you know, of course, I think we should be able to dye it. I think every piece of gear in Wiz should be dyeable, although that's not really the case. But imagine if it was like white with you know, black and this shadow look. That would be really fire. And he also has this really nice looking wand that has sort of like this floating crystal effect, and I think that's really cool as well. So I think that they should add this boss Igor's gear into Wiz for our wizards, and that there should be the robe and then also the wand, because I think that this is really cool. And that is, you know, it's really awesome how there's a lot of this gear in Wiz that a lot of people just forget about from these bosses. A lot of bosses look really cool, and I think that they should make this a thing for our wizards as well. Like, all these bosses are just a perfect opportunity for them to draw inspiration from on how to make, you know, our gear look, if they want to make it look nice. So yeah, let's go on ahead and move on now to numero 2. Now, I am here in Darkmoor because I'm pretty sure that mostly everybody knows who Malastare is. You guys are wizards, come on now. But in Darkmoor, there was the boss Malastare, who would turn into the Shadow Malastare form. And once he turned into Shadow Malastare, Mance was not playing around, dude. His gear already looked cool enough before this, but when he would turn into the Shadow Malastare form, he had this really cool shadow look that you could see in the robe and the staff. Like, the dragon turned kind of like an all black, and I think that this was just really awesome. And if anything, you know, especially just going based off of the name Shadow Malastare, this should tell you that this is basically shadow gear. I mean, the look of it is shadow elegant gear, and I think this is something that Wiz should add. I mean, shadow is a school, it's something that everybody can have once they're, you know, level 100. So I think that it makes the most sense for them to make shadow elegant gear, and that they should start with this robe that Malastare has along with the wand. Now, I know that once we would beat Malastare, we would get the Darkmoor boots, robe, and hat, and that it did kind of resemble Malastare's gear just a little bit, but it didn't really resemble it 100%, dude. Like, I think that they should have just given us his gear 100%, you know, made it look exactly the way that his robe looked. And while I think that the Darkmoor gear does look cool, I think that they should add this Shadow Malastare gear set in the future, because it would just be a really cool addition. And I think this is one of the coolest looking things that a boss wears in the game. But let's go on ahead and move on to number 1. Alright guys, so for number 1, I am here in Chrysalis again to talk about a boss that I think a lot of people forget. This boss is one of my favorite of all time in Wizard101, because I think this dude is just really cool, and I think that, you know, his story is really awesome in the storyline, and it was just one of my most memorable bosses of Wizard101, and I really think that he's lit. So this boss is Ghost Dog, and Ghost Dog has a really awesome looking gear set, and I think that this should be added 100% without a doubt to Wiz for all of our wizards to be able to acquire somehow and to wear. Look at his hat, look at his robe. It's just so freaking awesome how much detail went into this boss. I mean, it has like a Mushu style, obviously, but they made it way different than any other gear like that in Wiz. And, you know, it just looks really cool. He's got like this katana, which I think would be a great wand for our wizards to have. And, you know, it just goes along really well with the rest of his set. So yeah, guys, Ghost Dog is my personal, you know, most wanted. Like, I think it's just a must-have for Wiz to add into the game for us to get and actually be able to wear. And, you know, they can put stats on it too. I think all of this gear would just be great in terms of how it looks. It makes sense for them to just put stats on the gear anyway and maybe put in dungeons or put in a pack. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for this entire list. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video today. I really think that KingsIsle should take some of these ideas from this video and add them to Wiz. I think that a lot of this gear is a must-have and that it just looks really awesome. And there are many other bosses in the game that have awesome looking sets. So if you guys would want to see me make a part 2, then definitely leave a comment. Let's try to reach 100 likes on the video if you did enjoy, and that maybe sharing this with KingsIsle would be a really cool thing. Guys, I really think that this is stuff that they should add, and I just genuinely want this in the game. So if you guys do too, or if you want some of your own gear ideas implemented into Wiz, then you should leave a comment down below, drop a like on the vid. Let's try to reach 100 likes, share this with KingsIsle, and yeah, I'm done being greasy. Other than that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Keep it 5.